Uh, Another warm one. Welcome to the summertime. It's about, oh hell, 11:46 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday right now as it is. I suppose you guys have been keeping up with what's been going on over the past week regarding the condo droppage. And a lot longer than that regarding our political system and everybody else trying to go after each other because democracy is collapsing and people are freaked out about it and expressing their comments about it. Probably yours truly here too. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, besides having the fireworks scaring the living crap out of my dog and everybody else who's got PTSD, hello. What does this all mean? Not the part where it means to be American. I mean, everyone else has got their own misconceptions of what that's supposed to be because they surely have no idea except they're saying something about it and it always goes off the damn mark. No, what I'm trying to say is, what is it all about anyway? Freedom, political? Is it for political favors? Is it for something political? Because we have politicized our freedom, our liberty, our justice system like crazy. Now, you don't even get to a point where I got damn flies all over the place. How irritating is that? But then again, listening to a lot of people talking about stuff like this is also irritating as hell for me as well. Because I'm trying to find out the true meaning of being an American and what it means to celebrate the July 4th and in what form or fashion. And should we be celebrating the July 4th in form or fashion? Sounds unpatriotic? Does it sound like I'm not part of the clique? I'm not part of us? I've got something to say and people don't like to hear about it? Sounds about right. Sounds like I may be a communist or a socialist or Putin's lover? Not really. See, if I happen to do these damn videos, I'm doing it because of questions I've got for others and for myself. I have to question and I have to find out the reasons why. Not hearing it from every other damn politician out there or every other Tom, Dick, and Harry keeps waving a damn flag at this point over here. Or from professors who are trying to teach us one form or another what history is supposed to be. Oh, I'm sorry, we had the woke theory, critical race theories, and cancel culture is added. So, sort of the current rages that we've got over here. We're pissed off about that. So now we got to talk about that and what I like and what it is to be an American. And then we can also push around the idea about where the history was supposed to be or interpreted or misinterpreted at this point over here. See, at this point, I think if we actually understood what the true meaning of all this is supposed to be, and this is not like dealing with a holiday or dealing with the religious holidays when you have to dig into yourself and find the spiritual aspect of it all. No, I am trying to find the ego of it all. I'm trying to find the necessary. What am I trying to find, basically? What it is to be an American. I've seen people die for their country in one form or another. Seen too many caskets roll by. I have seen too many walk in wounded, both physically and mentally wounded, from wars. I've seen people trying to survive left and right. And asking people, why can't they be supported one way or another? Why can't they be accepted one way or another? And for someone who keeps wearing the marks of the country's uniform, be considered stolen valor. Unless you're a vet, you're not allowed to wear that thing because it's called stolen valor. A long time ago, I used to wear the pins of my country that I collected from places all over, including Army surplus stores, and not to mention air shows and mail orders. I'd put on the pins left and right all over my damn vest when I went over to air shows and collected more pins and put them on there proudly. And every time I had a vet coming up over here and asking me, "You a vet?" "Nope, I'm supporting you guys." It They don't know what to make of it, and some of the people over there I met, because either I was a nut job, which I probably was at the time, or else maybe I was trying to say something about the country and pissing people off at the same time. But wearing an American flag is not supposed to be pissing off people. And again, I don't know what the hell it is. But we're supposed to be showing off our Americana, our American, by wearing the red, white, and blue, by celebrating the colors red, white, and blue, because that is supposed to be our country. That is supposed to be representative of our country. Red, white, and blue. Well, I got white, but I don't have the red and I don't have the blue on. I don't have that. Oh, I can make semblance of the colors at this point. If I could pull out a few pins left and right that has the colors of red, white, and blue in it. But is that what it means to be American or celebrate America? To celebrate the July 4th weekend? I mean, go back through history books and try to find the meaning of it all. We have gotten so screwed up in our own meanings of what it is to be American that we have gotten to us versus them, which continues the Civil War attitude from long ago. People had different ideas of what America was supposed to be, and yet we still screw that up left and right. And we can't be satisfied with it, can we? Because if it's not the shared thing, if it's not the same thing, if it's not according to the conformity and compliance and people's expressed desire, wishes, and orders at this point over here of what we're supposed to be doing, we are the enemy. We are worshiping something else, and therefore we have to conform and comply because we have the freedom. We have the freedom and the liberty. But we have to conform and comply. Conform for liberty. Conform for America. We will be one country. We will be one idea. We will be this. We will be that. This is what we're hearing for the past several years and longer than that. We have people coming out from the woodworks that have been out there for a long period than just a few years, saying how screwed up the government is and how it should be quote unquote fixed and how we should take back our country. We have people trying to wear the hat saying, "Make America great again." And if you don't wear the red, white, and blue and "Make America great again" hats, then you're not part of America. And we have the constant headbutting on this because we're still trying to define that in each other and in ourselves. Without us realizing it, without us acknowledging, without even talking about it, we're still doing that. Because we're still trying to gauge each other whether or not how American they are to how much of a patriotic level they're going to be showing at this point over here. What kind of a fascist are they? Ultra-patriotic fascism. And you have to show that much for a country that can't even identify itself, can't even figure out itself, its own damn identity. A lot of people are going to say, "No, you're full of it, you're full of it." Are we? Am I? Because as far as I'm concerned, I think we've lost our identity a long time ago. And we're still having a hard time trying to find a damn thing. I don't have any solutions. And the thing of it is, we still have to be on the constant hunt and we still have to be the constant redefining because every generation, every decade, every millennium, millennium's 1,000 years. We haven't even got to that point yet. Hell, we're not even the Galactic Empire yet. We're still just a pissant country. on a pissant world in a pissant galaxy. Perspective, context, perception. We're still pissants. We're not the greatest. And if we think we've got the biggest damn ego around, I mean, if we think we're the greatest, then we are the biggest ego around, aren't we? We think we're the greatest. Quite frankly, I think we're all on Xanax. There's not one great country. There is not one absolute monarchy or autocracy or government system. But to the ultra patriotic, to the ultra extremists, to the ultra nut jobs out there who claim otherwise, they'll argue. They'll argue like crazy and they'll tell you otherwise. They'll tell you that this is how it's supposed to be. This is how it is. You don't like it, tough cookies. It pisses me off because now we got to deal with someone else's rules and regulations and guidelines on that one. Of course, that sets up the rebellion, doesn't it? That starts it up, doesn't it? Now we got to rebel against our own damn system because we don't even like the system in the first place that we've been swearing an oath to for how many years? Let's see, 265 plus. Coming up on that. And just less than several days, we're going to be that way. We're going to be celebrating 265 years of a country. The longest we've ever recorded, or that we know of. Except I had to tell you something. The Roman Empire lasted a hell of a lot longer than us. Oh, they had administration changes. They had ruler changes. They were still the empire. They still ruled for centuries. A lot longer than the Egyptians did, anyway. A lot longer than the Soviet Union and China, which is coming up on a century mark pretty shortly. Well, we got to be because we have 265 years of screwed up government, don't we? And we're still trying to figure it out. Which brings me back to what I said a long time ago in another video. You pull out a dollar bill, you look at the back of the dollar bill, and you see the unfinished pyramid. That's us. Because if it was finished, we'd think we know better. It was unfinished because there was potential in our country, and there still is. Only we think one way, and then they're supposed to be the other way. We just haven't figured it out, any of it yet. What does it mean to be an American? What does it mean to celebrate July 4th? Is it with the food? Is it with the fireworks? Is this with the red, white, and blue, bunting, the food, everything? Do we know what it means? We could be shoved all the history down our throat. We could see all the damn shows we want, try to feel and capture that patriotism, unless we understand why things had happened earlier on, what led on to it. Unless we have some kind of perception and context and perspective gained from all of this, we really don't know. We really have no clue. And the problem is it takes a long while to develop that level of understanding. The older vets will look at the flag that they're sacrificed for, and they have their own deep thoughts about it, their own feelings. So some of them, they still think their country is going downhill because of the politicians. And some of them are saying, no, it's not the politicians, it's something else. And they'll argue and gripe and grumble about it. Because they all have their own different viewpoints of what the country is supposed to be in their lifetime and their youth. What they saw, what they perceived. And then when it comes afterwards, they start blaming anything and everything. And I guess our evolution of our country also matters in how we think and how we feel about it. How ultra patriotic or how just basically patriotic are we supposed to be, and how are we supposed to feel about it? I have audacity to ask the questions. I probably do. Because in seeing how people treat each other and how they're hypocritical about things, yeah, I do ask. I do ask. Because for me, there isn't one good explanation. There isn't one good answer. Because when our country was created, it was created with a lot of conflicting ideas and a lot of confusion and a lot of people hoping to maybe one day make sense out of it all. They had a common theme, they had a common enemy at one time, but they were still struggling to survive. They were still struggling to have a place they can call home. They didn't have to be taxed to death like crazy, but they still had to pay their taxes anyway. They still wanted to have their guns to protect themselves, but they didn't want to be ruled by someone else's uh, edicts concerning about what you're going to do and what you're not going to do just because I got a gun pointed at your damn head. Of course, we wanted to have the freedom of having a gun to defend ourselves, but not at the tyranny of them either. We wanted to have a due process that if we're going to be guilty about something, at least we got a legal process to go through and maybe have a bail system set up and maybe have a maybe an option for a speedy trial if there is any such. But also how to defend ourselves and defend our rights to self-incriminate ourselves against doing, against something that will incriminate us in certain actions that we're testifying. We have a right to say, we have a right to vote who's going to be the leader of our country. We have a right to have our states having the power to make those kind of choices. The voters inside each state to make that kind of choice. We have the right for our own trading. We want to make sure that we're doing fair trading with everyone else and everyone's doing fair trading with us. We had a lot of good things put into the Constitution, but then there was a lot of ugly things that we didn't like in there in the first place, and we put up an amendment process in there. Didn't like some of them. Did not like having slave owners trying to count some of the property because they didn't want the property counted. The slaves wanted freedom in the first place to be counted as citizens if they're going to be participating in the country. If they're going to be part of the system, they don't want to be part of everything. But of course, so many other people said, nah, because we like the way things are. We like to own slaves. We like to own another human being. Own and tell them what they're going to do because this is America. We believe in freedom and democracy and justice for all, except not for these guys. I make a facetious joke about the damn thing, but it wasn't funny. It still isn't these days. Was it a short time ago that we actually had a day celebrated where slavery is officially dead? It should have been declared officially dead a long time ago. We had the amendments process, but somehow there was a state or two that didn't quite ratify it enough. And when they did, we actually had a bill passed through the Congress, which was an amazing accomplishment because this is the one damn thing both GOP and Democrats agreed upon. Everything else they're still killing each other over. An insurrection happens at the Capitol on January 6th, and they're still going after each other on that one. Unbelievable. But this is what we've got. This is America. What we do on camera is also out there for people to watch to see whether or not we actually have a country worth living in, worth visiting, worth being a part of. And we're still having that issue because we're still holding one way or another accountable and above everything else, and it's not liberty, justice, and freedom. No. It's elitism. Us versus them. The ultra-patriotic or the extremists at this point over here that says one thing or held hostage to a minority as trying to gain a majority and tell people this is how it should be because this is what our vision is. And the thing of it is, and I'm going to get flack on this one, I hope. I hope I get a hell of a lot of flack on this one. I want it. I want to hear it because the freedom of speech that we have over here, insurrection talk as it is still the right of everyone to speak against government because we have the right to do so. But it doesn't protect us from the from the consequences of our actions. Oh, I can say something like "you're a mean, rotten, sorry son of a bitch," and I can prove it. That's slanderous, and that's not protected exactly. That's a civil suit right there. Of course, I could say that to the congressman of my state that he hadn't done his damn job. He cares more about his own career and his own skin than he cares about anybody else these days, and he lies through his teeth about it. Of course, that is protected. Because I'm aiming it at a government figure. I'm aiming at government. I'm aiming at state. Now, if it was a personal attack, that's a different story altogether. That's civil. So that's a consequence right there. But if I'm saying that the institution we have needs major work on it, despite the fact that people say we don't, and if I happen to say that the American flag sucks and we need a new flag, a lot of people are going to take that as a treasonous mark right there, and I should be dead on the spot. But that's also protected under the federal government. It just doesn't protect me from the consequences. Oh yeah, the government, not the government consequences. I'm talking about the people consequences. That's the thing. See, part of July 4th at this point over here is we can say whatever the hell we want because we're celebrating the freedom or the birth of our country because of the Declaration of Independence that was created, so we can say that to a tyrannical government system at the time and a tyrannical king at the time because he didn't give us the respect that we earned a long time ago. We got the shaft because we didn't get the adequate representation, and even if we did, we didn't get the adequate representation needed. We still got the shaft because we were treated as second or third or zero class. But we're just treated as a money bag. That's about it. They fought their wars, and now they need to get more and more money. Want to squeeze it out of the colonies like crazy. They're going to pay more and more for the stuff that we keep sending them, that they keep sending us over because we tell them to. Postage stamps, paper, partial tax, anything with a government imprint on it, we're fucked. Even the tea. God forbid you should interfere with the damn tea. Yet being English people as they were, not all of them were English, but a lot of people did actually enjoy their tea. So we turned a harbor into a damn big, huge teapot. Surely you've heard about that one in the history books. Is that why we celebrate July 4th? Because of the Tea Party Act? And I'm not talking about the 2000 Tea Party Act. I'm talking about the act that happened regarding all the tea being dumped out of the supply ships coming from England of all that processed tea. And we had to turn our lake, actually part of our harbor, into a bloody mess. Actually into a gooey mess. But they ended up doing that to the oceans anyway whenever we're going naval battles anyway, so what the hell. So what am I trying to say about this country here? About how we're supposed to be celebrating July 4th? And what is the correct way of saying it and celebrating it and understanding it? And to think of it is, the more I keep asking myself, and the more I keep wondering about what somebody else has, they have their own ideas, they have their own opinions. So the other question is, why am I bothering? How dare you? There's the thing right there. How dare I? How dare I question something? How dare I have no freedom to question because I'm supposed to be given the freedom to ask questions, to say something. But according to elitists and according to the minority, the ultra patriotic, the almighty, whatever the hell they call themselves these days, because I have no idea what these schmucks are. Trump heads, Q groups, ultra patriotic fascists. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of slur. I can throw out the English dictionary. I can try to find an English dictionary right now. Just try to find the words for that. I mean, hell, there's got to be some words in there to tell them about what an extremism is next to what we've got right now. We're just trying to figure out why these idiots want more and not even telling us what the hell they want. But we have to listen to them because they say so. So now the country's going to be run by their say so. They think the election was rigged. It was stolen when it was actually processed and done correctly. All these questions, all these things I talk about, trying to figure out what it means to be what us is. I keep coming back to a movie that says American President with Michael Douglas and Michael yeah, Martin Sheen in it, all trying to examine, and Annette Bening and Michael J. Fox. Don't forget those guys. But don't forget what it means to be an American. I mean, American is advanced citizenship. You gotta want it bad enough. You also gotta want to fight for the other guy's right to say something else negative about your damn country or about anything else. You have to support the damn right, just not what the hell they're saying about it, and have a nice argument about it. But you still support their right to say it in the first place. And that's the thing I go for, is the right, the freedom of speech, the ability to say something, even if it's something that pisses people off, including you. What if happens if I say to you, what if I'm going to say to you that you guys are the lowest pieces of filth and trash and everything else because you demonstrate what it is to be an American by tearing apart a democracies and the system that it works by going to the federal capitol to tear it all down to protect what your version of America is supposed to be. Now, how does that grab you? Piss you off? And of course, we got the evil empire of the dreaded media out there that's out to brainwash people. So we have to have other media out there to counter brainwash by brainwashing. And yet, under the freedom of speech that we have, we can say it against the government, but when it comes down for everything else, it's a different story altogether. Said before, we are protected under the First Amendment against reprisals against the government, not against anybody else. So if I happen to say that to another person saying you're a low down, dirty insurrectionist dog who defied the federal government by protecting the federal government, your version of it, I would call you a dirty down traitor to the government, to the flag, to the Constitution, which you'll probably say something equally worse to me. And said, you don't know the U.S. Constitution. All you gotta do is just pull up a book and says, here's the Constitution, read it. You tell me, where does it say that gives you the right to do an insurrectionist act on a capital that's doing its constitutional job of processing one leader out and another leader in? You saying your votes are rigged, but you can't prove it. You say it's out there, but you can't prove it, but you're going to tear apart a country in a democratic process to prove your insanity. Makes you a sore loser. You guys had the theoretical power for 2 years and and you screwed yourself over on that one because you couldn't get anything else done. You had your chance to screw that up. Now the other American people said, we got tired of your insanity, your lunatic. What are you going to do now? Burn the country down one way or another? Are you going to be going out there to cities now? Are you going to be going out there planning another attack on people? And this is a way to bring back a constitution, your version of a constitution? Do you have the rewritten version of the constitution? Because if you do, that's an insurrectionist act right there. That's treasonous. You talk about traitors who had to be given a death? I'm sorry, one particular reporter tried to backtrack it, but it's still out there. One of those newly created networks out there, love spewing out crap. You had to call it truth. And he said deadpan, and it's still being passed around in those videos out there, that traitors ought to die, including people in media. I mean, I'm paraphrasing the damn thing, but that's what he's telling us. And our former leader of the country likes it. He wanted to do that to our media as well. So this is democracy. This is your version of democracy. It's bad enough when I had to keep ranking Skokie versus the American Nazi Party when that decision came out in the 70s, 1970s, concerning about the First Amendment rights of a group versus a city. Because to me, it all boils down to that situation over there. The most vile, ugliest group of people ever to march into a town to denigrate others because they feel like they are superior and they are the most egotistical, sorry sons of bitches around, but they have the right to say so because they are protected under the First Amendment rights. And the government said, no, you can't do it, the local government. And they said, yes, we do. We have the right. It was proven in the courts, all the way through the Supreme Court, they had the right. However, the implementation of it, where and when and what time, is a different story altogether. That's local. See, give you the right. The federal government says, yeah, you have the right to say it. But that's it. It doesn't protect you from any of the consequences that happen afterwards. And now hate speech is basically against the law in a lot of states and also in the federal government. You can't say that. And a lot of things get scanned and checked out by fact checkers left and right that people really hate. Sometimes they can't stand the truth, and sometimes they can't stand the fact checkers themselves. Well, they're not perfect either, I'll tell you that much. So if I happen to say to another person at this point over here of a different color, creed, religion, mixture, whatever you are low down scum of the earth, and you deserve to, don't fill in that blank. You are not needed here because I'm not filling in that blank. But you get the idea. Saying it to another person and then coming up with a plan of attack or an action at this point, not cool and against the law. But if this was a elected official of a government system that was recognized, that's a different story altogether, and the courts are going to have a field day over that still. Because then they have to prove whether or not if the intent was true, but also if they actually had the legal right and the federal right to do so, and a lot more things that I am not familiar with the damn legal system. I am not. I wish to God I was. Otherwise, I'd be one of those legal eagles on the television I see on the social media things these days, and saying, "Oh, I know about this one because I'm a lawyer and I graduated here and I should have an idea." I'm just a basic community college student, okay? I'm still trying to get my feet wet in the damn system, and I'm well past my prime. If I was in my 20s, that's one thing. I would have maybe a lot more, but I just only have perspective, context, perception. That's about it. But not the academia, and sure as hell not the life experiences of being a damn legal eagle. But what I've seen and what I've learned these days pales in comparison to everybody else. It's my excuse. So, my question, What makes July 4th the most important holiday? What makes July 4th important to you and to me? What makes July 4th the most important holiday of our country to its people? If you're going to start getting me that kind of look again, I'll say go for it. Because I ask a question, and it scares people when I start asking questions, and it scares people when each other ask each other questions. Because we're supposed to assume, we're supposed to know, we're supposed to understand this by osmosis. We're theoretically taught this way in schools or in different places, left and right. Hell, other medias have been trying to educate us for God knows how long of our lifetimes. We still can't get it right. We think we have, but I don't think we ever have, or I don't think we ever will. Because to absolutely understand the answer to it, to honestly know about it, and to stay on a fixed point is not what the founding fathers had in mind. Otherwise, that pyramid would be still completed. And we would have our complete answer. America is supposed to be a growing, evolving country. Its people are supposed to be understanding a lot, learning things, stumbling, falling, rising up, and struggling again. And it's to struggle. It's to struggle. It's to struggle. Yes, you heard me say it 3 times. Why don't we say it a 4th time? It's to struggle. It's not the freedom. It's to struggle. To reach for that. That elusive thing, whatever the hell it is. Okay. To reach it, how possible dream. Screw that noise. It's something that we don't know. We can't well define, even though we do, and we wear the colors to show that we are defining it, but we don't. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. We think we know, but we don't know because it's still out there. And until we understand that, until we get it in our thick skulls, until we get it inside our hearts and our minds, until we understand what it means of this holiday, of this season, of this time, of the Constitution, of the Declaration of Independence, of what it means to be the quote-unquote quintessential American, which we still cannot define, we're still going to struggle because that is the nature of our country. That is the nature of our being at this point over here. We have to struggle. It does not come to us in Amazon or eBay or any other kind of mail order stuff. It doesn't come under QAnon bullshit or even regular media bullshit sometimes. I gotta say it. It comes through the discovery and struggle and strife. It comes through our seeing our rights, our freedoms, our democracy, what we understood, what we learned about, what everyone keeps fighting and dying and talking about left and right. It's our own self-discovery of what it means to be that idea. If we ain't struggling, if we're not trying to kill each other, if we're not trying to bash each other's head, trying to get that answer out of us, we're not doing it right. And I'm not talking about physically getting a club and having a go with the guy. I'm talking about having a go in a debate that's point over here, understanding or yelling and screaming and yelling at the top of your lungs and saying, "What is America to you, you rotten sorry son of a bitch? You communist socialist, how dare you tell me that one? I'll show you what America's supposed to be." Well, you can't talk about it. Talk about it. I got my guns. Yeah, and I got my words, and you know the words last longer than your damn guns. No, they don't. Let's see, it's printed out already. It's already made it. Point over here, spreading word. Edgewise, you just kill a messenger, but then you still got the word to deal with, so now you're dealing with the ripple effects. Give me just 1 chance. I'll just get everybody down. I'll show what liberty and freedom and justice is. I'll enforce my own law on them. That's what we're dealing with right now. That concept right there. enforcing one's will over another. That's what it means to be an American. That's what it means to celebrate July 4th. You go back into historical context, you understand why we didn't want to be that way in the first place. We're getting back to that place again. Not with a tyrannical leader we just got rid of, but the same attitude. And if we can't figure that out real damn fast, then I guess we don't deserve to have a country at all. Happy birthday, America.